Banner of War Titan. The only Titan build you need in Destiny 2. Ooh, hey guys, Slayer here. This is the best build. Haunted Lost Sectors in Destiny 2, as well as just the best build in Destiny 2 at this point in time now. You're going to want to take this build concept out for a spin while you can. Today, Ty1slayer will show you how to get the main components for this build, as well as the #1 exotic for this build. At this point of Lightfall, you may already have your Banner of War Titan ready. If not, I will give you a brief overview as well. If you don't have the Strand aspects as of yet, head on over to Neptune, talk to Nimbus. There will be a quest line that you can complete. Get a nice, clean solar hand cannon as well. Epical integration. This is pre-cured, so you can't get any different perks than this, but it's pretty good to boot. Incandescent, keep away nanotech rockets. And after that's complete, you'll head on over to the meditation pond. Do a meditation, and you'll have access to the Banner of War for your Titan, as well as the 2 other Strand ones for Hunter and Warlock. If you find anything helpful today, be sure to spank that like button and subscribe, as Ty1slayer creates educational content all the time. So, starting with your abilities, you're going to want to go with the Rally Barricade, simply because it's easy to shoot over, as well as the benefits of increased reload speed, stability, and range when behind it. Your jump is preferred preference. We go with Strafe Lift. Now for your melee, the Frenzied Blade. Key point to note here. Your melee will be severing targets, which means when they're defeated, they will spawn a tangle. And then for your grenade, the good old Shackle Grenade, due to the suspend effects, which will pretty much briefly immobilize the enemies. The main point here is that it will stun unstoppable champions. And then the added bonus, when any suspended targets are defeated, they will unwind into a tangle. So another opportunity for a tangle. Now moving on to the aspects, you have Into the Fray. Destroying a tangle or casting your super will grant Woven Mail for nearby allies. And while you have Woven Mail, your melee regeneration rate is increased. And then, as you might have guessed, Banner of War. You defeat a target with a melee attack, finisher, or sword to raise a Banner of War. It will pulse with energy, periodically healing any nearby allies, as well as increasing melee and sword damage. Targets defeated by you and nearby allies will charge the banner, as well as increase the speed of the pulse. Now, before we get into the fragments, I built this build in a way that it will stand the test of time. I'll briefly touch on some of the artifacts that you can interchange, and then you don't have to run a particular fragment, but this build is made to work without specific artifacts. Now, starting off with the first fragment, you have the Thread of Fury. Damaging any target with a tangle, you get more melee energy. You do get -10 strength, but you will get more melee energy for tangle damage. Then you have Thread of Transmutation. While you have Woven Mail, weapon final blows create a tangle. Any weapon, it's not tied, you just need Woven Mail. As per the artifact, over in third column, Thanatotic Tangles. Any strand weapon final blow will have a chance to generate a tangle. So you can switch that fragment out if you opt to use a strand weapon. And then it's not tied to you having Woven Mail. You just need to get strand weapon final blows. In the event you do that, you can do Thread of Warding, picking up an Overpower will grant Woven Mail. You can do Thread of Generation, dealing damage, generates grenade energy. It's a per content basis. Or you can do Thread of Isolation. Landing rapid precision hits will emit a severing burst from the target. You have some options there. Moving on, you have Thread of Propagation. Powered melee final blows will grant your strand weapons unraveling rounds. For this particular build, I will show you the best in slot strand weapon for this playstyle. Do keep in mind that the unraveling rounds will pierce barrier champs, as well as when unraveled targets are defeated, they will create a tangle. And then, lastly, Thread Continuity. Suspend, unravel, and sever effects applied will have an increased duration. All these synergize well through all types of content, even Grandmasters. Now, for the best in slot, exotic, your good old Synthoceps. Quick overview here. When you're surrounded, you'll gain increased melee and super damage, as well as improved weapon handling and reload speed. Now, as far as what you want to go for stat-wise, you are a Titan, so you want 100 resilience, You're going to build into discipline to keep the shackle grenades going. And then a mix of some more intellect as well as strength. So I believe if you get your intellect to about, I believe, T6, so 60 in that range, it should take the super cooldown to about 7 minutes. That's more ideal. Stats will vary based on what you have, but you at the very least want to have 100 resilience. Now for your mods, this per content basis, per playstyle basis, and what weapons you decide to use. For me, we go with heavy ammo finder. We'll get into our weapons a little later. We want heavy ammo finder so we can keep using our heavy. We throw on a heavy ammo scout to help out the random blueberry. And then I throw on a harmonic siphon for rapid strand weapon final blows to create orbs of power. Throw on our resilience mod. And the good old Syntoceps. We have no mods here because we cut corners here, so I can have heavy-handed on here, as well as impact induction, and then melee kickstart. Melee energy fully expended, you'll gain more melee energy. 1000 damage with melee attack, you reduce your grenade cooldown, as well as melee final blows will create power. See here, we're speccing heavy into the melee aspect of the build to fully make use of Banner of War. We're missing 2 here, right? So with Masterwork, you can then, add some more stats here if necessary. Kind of poor on the resources right now, so we're sitting with 9 energy. On your chest piece, you're gonna want emergency reinforcement. Shields are unbroken, gain temporary damage reduction, melee damage resistance, with incoming damage from combatants that are at point blank range, and then we threw on a resilience mod there. For your legs, I personally like Strand Weapon Surge because I'm using a Strand Weapon, Orbs of Power, to keep the armor charge, keep the Strand Weapon doing some extra damage. Better already, health begins to regenerate immediately after you pick an Orb of Power. Recuperation will replenish health each time you pick up an Orb of Power. Doing the Resilience mod there. For your class item, this one is key, Proximity Ward. You gain a powerful overshield while performing your finisher. Remember earlier with Banner of War, will also activate when doing your finisher and refresh the timer. You want that, then you kind of get a second of reprieve via this overshield. Reaper, after using your class ability, your next weapon final blow will spawn an Orb of Power. As we mentioned in all our build videos, linked to playlists here. Want Reaper on everything. It's too good not to have it in any build. Then we throw on Bomber, reduce grenade cooldown when using your class ability. Could even do Outreach instead, reduce melee cooldown when using your class ability. I like this because with our weapons, we get more melee cooldown reduction there. If you're lucky and you have some artifice, you round more stats, we just have discipline stuff on this. That's the build at a glance. As far as your universal armor stuff will go, functioning around Syntoceps. Weapons, this is where things get delicious. Via this season, we got the reprised Crota Raid. We have some busted weapons. For this build specifically, the Swordbreaker Shotgun. And it is strand, and it is a lightweight frame, so you will move a bit faster with it equipped. Really quick, I'll pull up Dim and the D2 Foundry. For your shotgun, you're going to want smooth bore, you want to get 15 range on it, didn't get lucky here. Over in the second column, you're going to want either accurized rounds for another 10 range, or you're going to want, let's see, it shows here each of these mags are only +1 on the magazine, so you'd want appended mag for increased magazine size. This, hopefully you get lucky with it. If you already have Swordbreaker shapeable, this will be your best in slot shotgun for this build, and you're good there. You can put all the desired ones on. Non-negotiables are pugilists. Final blows with the weapon will generate melee energy. Dealing melee damage will briefly improve the weapon handling. Weapon handling is just an added bonus. You want that to generate melee energy. In our case, we have Surrounded, to gain bonus damage when 3 or more enemies are in close proximity. This is kind of good as well, just for purely using the shotgun. Otherwise, you're going to want to slap on 1-2 punch. Hitting an enemy with every pellet in the shot will increase melee damage for a short duration. for exactly 1.22 seconds after hitting a target. So you're gonna kind of, cycle it quick. As soon as you get the shot off, you hit all the pellets, all 12, go for the melee. You will get 100% increased unpowered melee damage and a 40% increased powered melee damage. And then you get increased melee damage against bosses in vehicle by a further 25%. So that's pretty nice. So with unpowered one, it'd be 150% against your boss, 75% on a powered melee. So doing these lost sectors right now, those doing the capture circle, the ritual circle, they spawn in, want your 1-2 punch. And then because these are the Crota weapons, their origin trait, the Cursed Thrall, after defeating a target with a melee attack, any final blows with the weapon will cause targets to explode for a short duration. These are key. That's just more ad clear, more ad control when you're doing the legend ones, any GMs, top harder content. This will stack up well. As we mentioned before, with the unraveling rounds, they'll make all your strand weapons pierce barriers. So you don't have to worry about using autos or if the seasons ever pulse again for anti-barriers. Just make sure it's a strand weapon when you get your unraveling round. Honorable mentions, which is also shapeable. You have the the Ragnahild. This is how you pronounce it. You can get 1-2 punch in 4th column. 3rd column, not really too much good stuff. Doesn't have Pugilist, unfortunately. That would have made it perfect. You do have Matador. You can get 1-2 punch. Pretty much any shotgun you can get 1-2 punch out of is a must-have. If you manage to get a shotgun with Pugilist, that's kind of like the icing on the cake. But you must have 1-2 punch, the extra damage. Then our exotic weapon is the tractor cannon. This is important for 2 reasons. To push enemies away, so any kind of mid-tier enemies, like knights, will get pushed away. It may not one-shot them, but it will push them away to suppress them as well, is making them more vulnerable to all incoming damage. Tractor cannon functions as a weakening effect, so this will help overall your team, help your other 2 teammates, or 5 if in raid, actually deal some extra damage without having to tether anything, not needing, Hunter's Smoke Bomb. But this is another thing that, via this Season of the Witch, you can actually put on Rapid Fire Ranger. Any rapid precision hits against distant combatants will weaken them for a short duration. So that is essentially a functioning tractor cannon, but at range. But that's only for this season. So as I mentioned earlier, build was built to stand the artifact test of time. And then offset, if you went shotgun top slot, maybe a hand cannon or something this season, right, for overloads, or something for any other champs you may need. Maybe another weapon you like to use, something ad clear. All depends on what you're doing. Double specials really isn't a thing anymore, but even that could work. You use a trace rifle for your energy. Do something like reconstruction. Maybe you have one lead from gold on it. That can help. A sniper, lead from gold, either slot. Minor things like that will kind of improve things. General premise is you're tractor cannoning them to weaken the enemy. Then cycle to the shotgun with 1-2 punch immediately after powered melee. While you're surrounded, so you don't want to ad clear everything. You want to have some enemies around you to get the surrounded buff. Go to town with your melee. That is the Banner of War Titan for Season of the Witch and any future seasons until the eventual nerf. Assuming they will nerf it at some point, I'm going to say going into the final shape. Because with this build being this busted, this is just going to make more people want to buy Lightfall so they can get their hands on it, especially any Titan mains. You'd be more inclined to buy Lightfall. And at the time of recording this video, 24th of October, Lightfall and all the other expansions are on sale. So it really might be a good time to pick up some expansions. So expect to see a nerf though, sometime in final shape, I would say, to make room for new things, because this pick rate is going to be through the roof. Already me just matching in, I'm finding everyone running a Banner of War Titan. It's already plaguing everything. So do expect the eventual nerf, but make sure you take advantage of it while you can. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Our first video back after a while, settling in the new place, still troubleshooting things, making sure everything's working, the hardware and all that. OBS seems to be running smooth now. We got all that stuff sorted out. Back with a clean build video. Hopefully this build helps you. And if it is, let me know down below. What do you like most about the Banner of War Titan? Do you have any other exotic changes you may have included different than what I chose to go with? See you on stream.